All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. Hope you all are having a good day so far. So I had a super thanks request from Wolf to check out this video here from one of my favorite content creators, Old School B-Ball. This one is titled "The Podcast That Actually Proved Kobe Bryant Right," and I think this is about Kobe and Jeremy Lin, actually. And I think I watched. I know I watched a good chunk of that Jeremy Lin podcast. I think I was walking or something when I would like listen to it, and I'm not sure where the proving him right thing is going to come into play, but I think I have an idea, and I think it's the way Jeremy Lin handled their struggle. And I'll just keep it to myself until we get there, but I'm pretty sure it involves, how Kobe was talking to him directly, face to face, and Jeremy Lin decided to turn it into a overnight text conversation. You know what I mean? So I think that's where it went wrong, but let's see. I'm curious what the theme is going to be about this video. That's just what I assume it's going to be. Either way, thank you for the request. Thank you for the donation. Very much appreciated. Let's check this video out, you guys. Like the video if you could. Hype the video if you could. All that good stuff. Check the link down below in the description. That'll take you to Old School B-Ball's channel. Send him some love if you enjoy this video. Like I said, one of my favorite content creators out there for a while now. And yeah, also super shout out to members. I appreciate you guys. Let's get right into this. Like the video, hype the video, all that good stuff. I'd appreciate it, and let's rock.
Kobe Bryant hasn't spoken in 6 years. He can't defend himself. He can't fire back.
Yeah.
He can't give you that look. The one where his jaw tightens and his eyes go dead and you realize you made a terrible mistake. And maybe that is why they picked now to talk. Jeremy Lin sat down on Dwight Howard's podcast.
I think so, Old School B-Ball. That's why we're here, man.
And told a story about how he texted Kobe Bryant after a game, told him he didn't appreciate his body language, and Kobe responded by not speaking for him for 5 months. 5 months. And the way Lin tells it, he is the reasonable one. He is the mature communicator. Kobe was the problem. Here's the thing. Jeremy Lin averaged 11 points on a 21-win team. He was on the Lakers for 1 season. 1. And somehow in 2026, he's on a podcast giving a TED talk about how Kobe Bryant, a 5-time NBA champion, needed to work on his communication skills. And sitting right across from him, nodding along like a therapy session co-host, Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
The man who showed up to the Lakers in 2012, couldn't handle Kobe's intensity, and bolted to Houston after 1 year.
And that's the right word, because we saw that with Jordan too. If you couldn't hang, you couldn't hang. In other words, if you couldn't prepare mentally for something like an NBA Finals during your average practice, your average scrimmage, you're not going to cut it here. Because the culture is different than that. The culture dictates we want to win. This is what it takes to win. And Dwight Howard didn't have that in him. One of the greatest of all time, but didn't have it in him. Jeremy Lin didn't have it either, it looks like, because if a guy is being disrespectful to you in your face, you have to respond directly back in their face. So if Kobe's being disrespectful, and the message that Lin was sending over text was, if you could talk to me in a way that doesn't demasculate me, basically, I'd appreciate it. Well, say that to him in his face. Be like, hey, get in his face. Be like, Kobe, you can't talk about me. You can't say that shit to me. I'm not going to let you say that shit to me. Then it becomes a competition, and now they can be best buddies. Because they're both going to rise up to a challenge. But if you're going to hide behind your phone, and I like Jeremy Lin, don't get me wrong, but I can see why Kobe wouldn't respect that, because you didn't rise up. You waited until it's safe, and now you're texting me at midnight. You know what I mean? What's that about? And then also, there's two sides to communication. So going into that, after that, he says Kobe didn't talk to me for 5 or 6 months or whatever the case was. Well, did you talk to him? Did you try talking to him? Nobody ever seems to ask Jeremy Lin that question, because I think it's important. You're just looking at Kobe to talk to you. Are you talking to him?
Two guys who couldn't survive one season next to Kobe, sitting on a podcast telling you about leadership. Let's break this whole thing down.
Yeah.
All right, let's set the scene. It is the 2014-15 season. The Los Angeles Lakers are terrible. We are talking 21 wins and 61 losses. Byron Scott is the head coach. Kobe is 36 years old, coming back from injuries and still averaging over 22 a game because of course he is. And Jeremy Lin is the point guard. Pause on that for a second. Jeremy Lin is the starting point guard for the Los Angeles Lakers. The insanity guy. The 2-week phenomenon from 2012. He is here now on a team going absolutely nowhere. So there's a late game situation. Kobe tells Lin to foul. Byron Scott tells Lin not to foul. Lin freezes because he is getting conflicting instructions from the best player in the franchise history and his head coach. Understandable. That is genuinely a tough spot. But here's where it goes sideways. He texted him. Jeremy Lin texted Kobe Bryant to tell him he didn't appreciate his body language. Now look, I want to be fair here. Lin says he wasn't trying to challenge Kobe's status. He wasn't saying he was better. He was asking Kobe to teach him in a way he could process better. And on paper, that sounds reasonable. That sounds like a modern, emotionally intelligent thing to do. But we're not on paper. We're in Lakers.
Yeah.
We're in the Lakers locker room, in Kobe's house, during Kobe's career. And the idea that...
Yeah, this is an environment of pure testosterone. You know what I mean? Like, so to go in like emotionally intelligent, and don't get me wrong, I'm capable of both, but I can switch one on and switch the other off. So the majority of my life was in this high testosterone, high stake world of just like do or die. But then I also spent quite a few years in a behavioral health world where emotional intelligence is key. Calmness, patience, de-escalation, all this stuff. This is what it's all about. But don't bring that world into the sports world, man. Like I that's where like you go talk to a team therapist or something like that. But talk to the team therapist in a way that's going to be like, how can you prepare me for what's about to come? Because Kobe's going to keep digging into me. How do I survive this? You know, and the answer's got to be, you got to rise up to his level because it's his team. You know what I mean? He's the guy with 5 championships. He's the head of the team. He's the guy. You know, he's one of the greatest. You rise up to his level or you get the hell out of there. You got 2 choices.
Role player on a 21-win team.
But telling the top dog, hey, I don't appreciate your body language. Could you communicate me in a more like emotionally intelligent manner? Sorry, Lin. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Lin, but that doesn't fly in professional sports.
Going to text the franchise greatest player and give him notes on his body language. This is like a galaxy brain move that only sounds smart if you've never been in a real locker room.
Yes.
And Kobe's response, according to Lin, Kobe actually came back pretty positively at first, sent him advice, gave him specific things to work on, seemed like the situation was resolved, and then Kobe didn't speak to him for 5 months. Now, some people hear that and think, wow, Kobe was petty. But wait, think about what actually happened.
I texted him, hey man, like, I really don't appreciate the body language.
Kobe told Lin what to work on. Lin said, I got you. And then Kobe went silent. Not because he was being childish, but because, and Lin later admitted this himself, Kobe wasn't used to being challenged by teammates. And maybe, just maybe, the silence was Kobe saying, okay, you said it, you'd handle it. Go handle it. I'm not going to hold your hand.
That's a good point. That's a good point, old school b-ball. For sure. Yeah, it's like nothing to talk about here. Go do the assignment I gave you. Come back when you're done. I've done that when teaching people some guitar as well, where I'm like, here's your assignment. Learn this and this and this on this song. Record it, send it to me, and I'll let you know. I'll let you know what your next assignment is. And it's very frustrating because oftentimes I have the next assignment ready to go, and then like weeks become months, months become a year, and then I'm like, yep, they're never getting back to me. They couldn't get past the first lesson. But the irony is they would come back to me and ask me for more advice, more lessons. but they wouldn't complete the original lesson. And that's where I would refuse as a teacher. You can't go to lesson 2 if you won't complete lesson 1. Come back when you're done. We'll get to the second lesson.
That is not bad leadership. That is a different kind of leadership, and there's a massive difference. But Jeremy Lin wasn't the first, and honestly, he wasn't even the most dramatic case. Rewind to 2012, the summer. Dwight Howard gets traded to the Lakers, and on paper, there's that phrase again, on paper. This is the most loaded roster in the NBA. Kobe Bryant, Dwight Howard, Steve Nash, Pau Gasol, Ron Artest, championship or bust.
Yeah.
Everyone knew it.
Oh, yeah. I hated the Lakers more than ever at this point.
Instead, 45 wins, a first-round sweep by San Antonio, and a partnership between Kobe and Dwight that became one of the most infamous failed experiments in NBA history. Now, Dwight has talked about this on a bunch of podcasts, and the story he keeps coming back to is the All-Star Game plane ride.
It was kind of like we didn't talk. Like we didn't talk at the All-Star Game.
We didn't speak for the next 5 months.
So picture this, February 2013, Kobe and Dwight are both All-Stars. They're on a flight to the All-Star Game in Houston, just the two of them, and Kobe won't talk to him. They get to the arena, the locker room has teammates placed next to each other. Kobe moves, sits somewhere else, won't even be near Dwight. And here's where the Dwight Howard situation gets fascinating, because unlike Lin, who is still in 2026 framing himself as the reasonable one, Dwight has actually come around. After Kobe's death in January 2020, Dwight broke down. He was on the team plane when the news hit. He went to the bathroom and just lost it. Dwight spent that whole 2020 season wearing Kobe's shoes every game. He wanted Kobe to see that he had matured, that he finally understood what Kobe was trying to do. But Kobe was already gone. And years later...
and ironically, that's when he won a championship finally. But Dwight Howard was never a leader. And that's where I think things got, certain stars are capable of it and certain aren't. And it turns out he just wasn't a leader. Monstrous, one of the greatest defensive players of all time. One of the most monstrous Shaquille O'Neal type dominant offensive players of all time. But he didn't have that, whatever it is, that it factor it takes to be a leader, that cutthroat level. He wanted to be liked. He wanted to be funny, more like a LeBron type character where, he wants laughter surrounding him. And that's great. It's great to have a guy on your team like that. But unfortunately, your leader can't be that way, or else you're going to set a tone of let's just goof off and have fun all day. You can't win a championship that way.
I said something that I think is the most important quote in this entire conversation. I get it now. Everybody reaches different levels of maturity at different times. I appreciate you, Kobe. Thank you for saying I was soft. I didn't realize what you meant till now. Read that again.
Wow.
Thank you for saying I was soft. Dwight Howard, a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, a first ballot Hall of Famer, is thanking Kobe for calling him soft because he finally realized it wasn't an insult. It was a diagnosis, and Kobe was the only...
It's a diagnosis and it's a challenge too. If someone, the leader of the team's going to call you soft, you're supposed to rise up and prove to him, I am not. Think Steve Kerr. Jordan warned Kerr. Kerr said, screw you, I'm not backing down. Then, pushed Jordan. Jordan punched him, and he never backed down. Steve Kerr never backed down. And guess what? Respect. 3 championships together. Great dynamic. This is how it's built for championship teams. But it's funny when I see somebody like Kobe put the call out, but then the other person who's being challenged is not answering that call. And once again, I hate to bring up the name again, but think LeBron James in the All-Star game in 2013 or whenever that was. Kobe set the tone. He made the call. And LeBron refused to answer it and just accepted being completely embarrassed and then played victim. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for somebody to rise up to the challenge, not lose and then play victim.
Everyone in the room honest enough to say it. Here's the part nobody on that podcast mentioned, and it might be the most important part of this whole story. Kobe's leadership style, the intensity, the silence, the refusal to cuddle. It didn't break everyone. Some guys thrived on it. Some guys
Yeah.
used it as a rocket fuel, and those guys, they are the ones holding the trophies. Pau Gasol, the guy showed up from Memphis, and people thought Kobe would eat him alive.
Yep.
A European big man.
The Pau Gasol challenge was when the USA beat Spain in the Olympics, and then for the very first day they were back at the Lakers, him and Kobe hung up his gold medal in Pau's locker room. So that was the first thing Pau saw. Pau got angry, and then Kobe challenged him. He made the call and said, "Do you want to keep winning second place, or do you want to win first place with me, or what?" And Pau rose up. He could have crumbled and played victim and been like, "Oh, Kobe's a meaty poopy head." But instead, he's like, "No, all right, let's fucking win this." Sorry for the language, but that's how it goes. And guess what? Back-to-back championships after that.
And with a soft touch in Kobe's world, but Pau didn't text Kobe about his body language. Pau studied Kobe, matched his work ethic,
Yep.
showed up early, stayed late, and Kobe respected it so much that they became one of the greatest duos in Lakers history. 2 rings together. Derek Fisher, the man
Yeah.
was never the most talented point guard in the league, not even close. But Kobe trusted him with his life
That's the best word, man. I was going to say it. Trust.
because Fish showed up every single day with the same energy, same focus, the same willingness to be held accountable. Fish didn't need Kobe to adjust his communication style. He adjusted to Kobe. Ron Artest, Meta World Peace.
I think Fish, honestly, because he was there for all of it with Kobe. I think Fish kind of became that Scottie Pippen kind of guy, not in play style whatsoever, but as far as like the role he had with the team, he was that guy. He'd go and talk to the players a lot for Kobe, and he'd also represent the players to talk to Kobe. You know what I mean? He was kind of a bridge, and I think Pippen got to do that too.
Most volatile personality in NBA history. A guy who literally went into the stands and fought a fan.
Yeah.
And somehow Kobe and Meta worked because Meta, for all his chaos, respected the hierarchy. He knew what Kobe was. He submitted to the mission, and he hit the biggest shot over the 2010 finals.
Yeah.
This is the part that
Ron
killed.
Artest showed he was willing to sacrifice because people forget that he was a really great offensive player. He happened to be an amazing two-way player. But he knew his role with the Lakers. He went in there telling Kobe, "I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you win championships. You know, like whatever we have to do." So he ended up being a Laker. And guess what? What he needed to do was be a solid defender. Once in a while, hit a jump shot, but offensively, not do much. So he had to sacrifice the whole half of his game and just dedicate himself on defense. And guess what? It worked, and Kobe respected it.
Kills me. Ron Artest. Ron Artest could handle Kobe's leadership style, but Jeremy Lin couldn't. Let that marinate for a second. Even Lamar Odom, Andrew Bynum, guys with their own issues, their own egos, they found a way to coexist with Kobe because they understood something fundamental. Kobe wasn't being mean. Kobe was being demanding.
Yeah.
And there's a world of difference between the two. Demanding says, "I believe you can be better and I refuse to accept less." Mean says, "I don't care about you."
Yeah.
Kobe was the first one. Always the first one. Now, let me address the elephant in the room because I know some of you are thinking it, but Tarek, they were just sharing their experience. Everyone processes things differently. Lin has a right to his perspective. Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely he does. But here's the thing, context matters. And the context here is this. Jeremy Lin went on a Dwight Howard's podcast, a man who had also had a famously rocky relationship with Kobe, and two of them spent an episode essentially agreeing that Kobe's leadership was flawed.
Yeah, it was a therapy session. 2 things real quick, and I'm sure you're going to touch on it, so I'm not going to do much of it. These two ended up not being leaders. Neither of them are leaders, so to criticize Kobe's leadership skills, not the best look. But also, yes, everyone is entitled to perceive their experiences however they want. And yes, they're allowed to share it. But guess what? Once you share it with the public, which is what they did, they weren't having a private conversation. They were having a podcast and broadcasting it publicly for all of us to see. So the second they do that, we in turn have the right to commentate on it, to have our own opinions, and to believe what they're saying or not to believe it, etc. If they made it private, none of us would ever know about it. You know, so I don't like when people make things public and then they're mad because they're getting pushback. Don't make it public then. You know, if you don't want the pushback, why make it public?
Two guys who couldn't handle it, telling you it was the leadership that was the problem. You know what that's called? That's called a support group, not analysis.
It is.
And the timing? Let's talk about the timing. Kobe has been gone since January 26, 2020. He cannot respond. He cannot contextualize. He cannot give you his side. And in the 6 years since his death, we've seen a wave of former teammates come forward to relitigate their grievances with a man who can't speak for himself. Some of you old school heads will remember something similar happened with the Michael Jordan after The Last Dance came out. Former teammates lining up to say MJ was a bully, as if the 6 rings were some kind of accident. But here's what really gets me.
By the way, that in the background was very heartwarming to just watch their exchange. You guys remember how this relationship started and how this mentorship started with Kyrie going at Kobe, basically, and just like challenging him. You can't guard me. You can't stop me. And then the mutual respect happened. It was the exact same way that Kobe's mentorship started with Michael Jordan. Same way, going at him.
Lynn said this on the podcast. I am not disrespecting Kobe because I fully acknowledge that he is 1,000 times player that I am. 1,000 times, his words. So you acknowledge that Kobe was 1,000 times player you were, and your response to the gap was to text him and tell him his body language needed to work. The guy who won 5 championships, who was first team All-NBA 11 times, whose work ethic literally the gold standard for professional athletes across every sport, and you, the guy with the 2-week hot streak in 2012, decided you were going to give him a feedback. At what point do you just listen?
Yeah.
At what point do you say, this man has forgotten more about winning than I will ever know? Maybe the problem isn't his communication style. Maybe it is that I'm not ready for what he's trying to teach me. Jeremy Lin's peak moment was a 2-week stretch in February 2012 where he went from undrafted nobody to cultural phenomenon. And look, Linsanity was incredible.
Yeah, great time.
It was a genuine sports miracle, but it lasted 2 weeks.
This and Tebow time, what a good era. But real quick, to touch on what he was saying here, I think a better approach to handle a guy like Kobe Bryant is not to cry. Don't shrivel down. Don't shrink. Just show up to practice and be like, Kobe, what do you need from me today? You know what I mean? Let him be in charge. I think he earned it at this point. What do you need from me today? Treat it like it's a job. What do you need from me today? All right, you got it. You want me to shut down number 22 on the other team? All right. I'll dedicate my whole day to that. You got it. Then you do that assignment. You do that assignment well, the trust starts to build, you know? But if you're going out there and you're like waving Kobe off and you're shooting threes and stuff when he's demanding the ball, or he's telling you to foul on the court and you're sitting there not doing it while he's yelling at you, telling you to do it, all the words in the world don't matter at that point. If you're saying, oh, you're 10,000 times better than me, I just want you to teach me. Well, maybe you should start by doing what he tells you to do on the basketball court. That's called respect. So Lynn wanted respect here, but it's a disrespectful thing not to listen to the captain on the floor. And he says, oh, well, Byron Scott told me not to do it, so I'm not going to do it. Okay. Fair point. But guess what? When there's a team leader, if the team leader overrides the coach, afterwards the coach is going to say, why the hell did you? I mean, honestly, he watched the whole exchange. He knew Kobe was telling him to foul. So at that point, it wouldn't even have to be a conversation. He'd be like, that would be a conversation between Byron Scott and Kobe. Lynn is not in any trouble for this. Lynn was listening to the on-floor general. Anyways, that was long-winded, but hope you guys understand where I'm coming from on this. I'm not trying to be insensitive. I'm not. There's just certain places and certain jobs where I'm more sensitive, and then there's certain jobs like professional sports where I'm a little less sensitive.
2 weeks, and Lynn spent the rest of his career bouncing from team to team. He won a ring in Toronto, but he played a grand total of 1 minute in the entire playoff run.
Wolf.
Entire playoff run. 1 minute. Dwight Howard didn't win a championship until 2020 at age 34 as a bench player on LeBron's team in a bubble. And when did Dwight finally win? When he accepted the role, when he stopped needing to be the man, when he did exactly what Kobe had been trying to tell him to do 7 years earlier, sacrifice your ego for the team. So you got two guys whose careers peaked below Kobe's floor, telling you that the problem was Kobe's leadership style. The scoreboard doesn't care about your feelings. The trophy case doesn't care about your body language. And the history doesn't remember the guys who wanted a gentler version of greatness. Now, I want you to be clear about something. Because I'm not here to tell you Kobe was perfect. He wasn't. The silent treatment for 5 months, probably excessive. Not talking to Dwight on a plane, awkward and unnecessary. Nobody is saying Kobe was a perfect communicator. He wasn't Phil Jackson. He wasn't a coach. He was a player. The most obsessively competitive player of his generation, trying to will inferior rosters to championships through sheer force of personality. But here's what people miss about Kobe's leadership. It was a filter. The intensity, the demands, the refusal to accept mediocrity. It was all designed, consciously or not, to separate the people who wanted to win from the people who wanted to be comfortable. And the results speak for themselves. The guys who stayed, champions. The guys who left, they spent the rest of their careers explaining why Kobe was the problem. Dwight eventually figured out. Jeremy Lin is still framing as a communication problem, but Kobe didn't have a leadership style. Kobe had a standard, and if you couldn't meet it, that wasn't a style difference, that was a you problem. I want to end this with something that I think gets lost in all of these podcast conversations and hot takes and YouTube clips. Kobe Bryant loved basketball more than anyone who has ever played the game, and his love for it came out in the only way he knew how, through intensity, through obsession, through an absolute bone-deep refusal to accept anything less than everything. Jeremy Lin and Dwight Howard didn't expose Kobe on that podcast. They exposed themselves.
I agree.
Because after all these years, after all the reflection, after a 5-time champion died in a helicopter crash with his 13-year-old daughter, the best they could come up with was he had a bad body language. Mamba out.
Mamba out. Damn great video, man. You're right. Yeah, they actually proved you're so right with the title of this video. That is it right there. They did. Because here it is, 6 years after Kobe's passed and everyone is all retired. The game is done for all of them, and they're still sitting here complaining about that. That just proves Kobe right. They didn't have what it took, because they're still talking about this. They're still thinking about this, as opposed to just waking up and going, well, he's got 5 championships, and between the two of us, Dwight Howard and Jeremy Lin, we have 1, and that 1 was in a bubble. Maybe we should have listened to the guy, right? Maybe we should have got on his back instead of thinking the opposite was going to come around, like Kobe was going to change for us. No, we went to Kobe's team to win. You know what I mean? They went to the Lakers to win. It's not like a 2011 Miami Heat situation where LeBron went to Miami to win. He went to Dwayne Wade's team to win. This is different. These guys went to Kobe's team to try to win. So shouldn't you listen to the guy who's done it 5 times? I don't know. That's how I would be. If I joined forces with Michael Jordan right now, and I joined his basketball team and he's in his prime still or whatever, I'm listening to whatever the hell he says. I'm just going to tell him, what do I have to do to help us win? What do you not want to do that I can take off your hands, sir? Let's win. Let's win this together. I don't care about the ego. I don't care if I score 5 points a game. If I'm going to help, like Ron Harper did. Ron Harper did that exact thing for the Bulls. Where am I needed? Same like Ron Artest. And here's the deal. And I'll close it out with this. If every single person had a story like this about Kobe, then I would believe it 100%. Kobe was a terrible leader and he treated everyone like crap. But guess what? There's only a couple of these stories. Swish Parker's another one. He couldn't handle it. But the majority of the stories, the people I hear talking about Kobe, you got like your Byron Scott, your Rick Fox, your Derek Fisher, your Robert Ory, your like the list goes on and on. Your Pau Gasols, Ron Artest, Lamar Odom, all these guys who got on Kobe's level. And I don't mean the skill level. I mean what he wanted, what the vision that Kobe saw is needed in order for them to win championships. And they rose to the occasion and got in line. Guess what? Kobe loved them forever. Joked around with them all the time. But he's not going to play around with you if you don't do the work. Remember what happened with Shaq? Same thing. I don't want to be your friend if I don't see you doing your job. And you're not doing your job, so I don't want to joke around with you. Guess what? I was the same way when I was in charge of a restaurant. Same thing. You got to do your job. If you're not going to do your job first, I'm not playing with you. I'm not laughing with you. We're not having a good old time. Why aren't you doing your damn job? Do that first. Then let's joke around later. That's like getting drunk before work. No, dude. You have your celebratory beers or your couple of drinks after the job is done. But job not finished, job not done, like Kobe said. I don't think so. Anyways, I'm out of here with that statement. But I think that's what separates the that separates the champions from everybody else. Because in order to be a champion, you have to just you all know what I'm talking about. Like, you have to really just dedicate yourself to nothing but your craft and your team and everything that comes with it, and hope for good health. So if someone is going to be a damper on that and stand in your way of doing that while you're doing your job, you're doing everything you have to do to win, but your teammates are preventing it from happening, and they want to call you a meanie head because of it, I'm not down with that. Because this is professional sports and you're getting paid millions of dollars to win championships for your organization. So you either do it or you go find another job and hope that they pay you $20-30 million a year as well. Ain't gonna happen. So I'd rather just bust my ass and try to win. But yeah, I guess it ain't everybody. And Dwight Howard, always a jokester. Always a jokester. Jeremy Lin, I hate to say it, but always a victim. Kobe, assassin, but also 5-time champion. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for the super thanks and all that, and I'll see you guys' comments down below. I'm really curious what I see down below, because I feel like I kind of walked the line here, because it's hard for me because I've lived in both worlds. I've lived in a sports world, I know the expectations, and I've lived in a mental health world, and I know how delicate that is. But I also consider it to be two completely different worlds that require two completely different mindsets, and it takes different types of personalities to do these things successfully. And sports, I still have that old school mindset of we're here to be the best, and if you're not here to be the best, don't waste my time. And that's always how I'll be until the day I die in sports. And it is what it is, man. Anyways, guys, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching. Like the vid, subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this. And most importantly, it's the be water, my friends. Peace out.